Hello. So it is the end of the day. It's a little bit past the end of the day, not too much, but I wrapped up the day, the last few hours of today, doing some play testing of a brand new prototype which I made. So first, let me recap you by saying I haven't put up a vlog in a while because I took a bit of time to recover, just a bit of a rejuvenation period, which meant I had 4 or 5 days in the city with my family, just recovering, which was really, really nice. However, time away or recovery time for me tends to also mean working on stuff that I impulsively come up with or like. So I have had at the back of my mind this these different mechanics for a game, which those of you who have been following the vlog for a while will remember when we were working on the Gatecrash prototype with the app with Rob. We applied for funding. It got unfortunately rejected for that round. That's not to say we could try it again in the future, but point is we developed a whole bunch of stuff, put a bit of time, quite a bit of time into it, developing characters and making a functional prototype game that ran on an app. And it just sort of froze there. Meanwhile, we've moved on to developing Gateway Roleplay, which is a roleplay system which is going to be a much slower burn, long-term project. So we're sort of getting it to alpha in the next few months, and then we're going to switch it into sort of passive development as we test it and play it on the Tabletop Time Roleplay channel. So basically, when it switches over to alpha, my small amount of time I have weekly dedicated to game dev will go from going into Gateway Roleplay to a different game product, because Gatecrash Games, which is the company that I founded to create Gatecrash and then the Gateway Roleplay, needs a product because it needs cash flow. It needs to be able to actually invest in making more games. So this is the big blah. That is to say, I've been sort of churning away at the back of my mind as to what the product will be, what the game will be that will develop when we switch over from alpha, to create something that needs to be a smaller scope, much more productifiable in a shorter turnaround, like developing a huge role play system with longevity and play testing and all this stuff for long-term campaigns is a very, very long process. It's going to take years. So we need something that's not going to take years that we can do in the meantime to help fund the projects. So the blah that I've been sharing with you was all to say that on this time away that I had in the last bit of time recovering, I had the time and the brain space to be like, well, what does it look like, right? So we had all of these for the app. We had all this card art that Alicia had worked on, like quite a lot. There's like over 80 cards that we'd created art for the app version of the game. And I had sort of figured, well, look, I've got all those artworks. I've got the names of the cards. So I just scrapped together a really crappy sort of temporary card layout. And the ones I took with me on my break were completely blank, so I could just scribble on them. They just had like empty spots to write in. And over the course of days, I just started playing games by myself. And I'm like, what does the turn thing look like? So what's resulted is, after quite a bit of mucking around, and it was so fun for me, I've produced a prototype that I felt really like solid at the end of this takeaway period. So I came back to work and I'm like, by that point I'd sort of built an InDesign project where I'd just put in all the data that I'd scribbled on all my cards. So I actually have cards now that have all the abilities and stats and stuff. And so I'm like, well, I want to play this now. So I printed up all these cards. Maddie cut them up for me because I only get 2 hours a week that I give myself to do game dev. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be selfish this week and take a break from doing the Gateway rulebook, which I should do because we need to get towards alpha. But Dave's not here, and I just wanted to have some fun. So I got all these cards printed up, and I pinched Vaughn, who's there in a pretty good place with the Tabletop Time edit. So I was like, all right, well, if you can spare a couple of hours. So I grabbed him for the last hour and a half of the day. We played 2 games. The first game we played was a 1v1. So basically you have the spawn points, and then the goal of the game is you need to get 10 energy to unlock the gate. And energy, you get an energy for free at the start of every round for every character. You're using these as energies, which is nice. And then they also spawn 2 on the board in random locations around these 6 spawn points. And that combined with the character stats and then the cards, and then there are unique cards for specific character types as well. So there are factions. So this is the Epoch faction. This is the, that's another Epoch faction. So there are different color cards for some more flavorful things for specific characters. So we played a game of 1v1, and he picked it up pretty quick, and it was pretty fun. And it was like, all right, this works. Like, he got the rules. I was able to explain them pretty straightforward, pretty quickly. So that was really positive. So then we said, okay, well, let's go 2v2. So we both picked 2 characters. I was Scrap and Bone Harvester. So this is where like the work that we had done is really satisfying, because my prototype is so much more polished already, because, you know, Scrap and Bone Harvester and Hypatia, this one's actually nicely painted, are the characters we developed for the prototype. We also have Chetsu, who's a summon. Hypatia can summon. Then otherwise I have just these random minis that I just have them and printed them, and you know. So we actually have 3 fully like designed characters that like look really cool and have really unique like designs and abilities and all this stuff. So it's nice because I'm working off of a really strong foundation with all the card art, with strong characters. And I just had like, I don't know, I'm just blurbing now, I'm just there. But the point is, the second time we played 2 characters each. Vaughn played Hypatia and Angelo, who isn't actually a character, it's just an angel dude. But I made him the alpha faction. And we had a deck each, and we just played, and it was really fun. It was really fun. And I am really chuffed that Vaughn found it really fun too. He says it's the sort of game he'd bring to his friend he plays games with. I know he'd be obviously tempted to be, to compliment me because I'm his employer. But I think we had a lot of fun. He stayed back late for it so we could finish the game off. And I was just really, it was really interesting how like close it got several times, and how just to a few key strategic moves. So it didn't lean too much on luck or dice rolls. It was very strategy heavy, but very fast paced and not too complicated to like make decisions. But there was also like, today was the day to sort of see, have I got something here? And I think just after those 2 games with someone who's never played it before, I think so. I think I've got something really cool here. And it's just, I've just started it. Now I need to put it in a box. Now I need to like, I'll probably take it home and play it with MJ, or like I'll leave it maybe here at the office and like play a game here or 2 with people if they have free time. No one has free time, but anyways, it keeps it present. But I'm really excited because it means that when Gateway goes into alpha, we've got something that, at least in its current form, is a really, really strong starting point to be like, well, what can we make of this? Because it already is using the months of work that we did as a springboard. It basically just, I sat the app we made, the prototype we made in isolation, in hibernation, I should say. And I just sort of cracked it out and paired it with totally different mechanics. And it just goes to show that like previously, I guess I'd felt a bit like maybe it was a waste of time or money to a degree. You know what I mean? Like we'd developed these characters and these cards and this art, and then the funding was rejected. And it's like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to self-fund making that up. Everything else is being too busy. You know, maybe was that a waste of all that time and effort? But coming back to this now and being able to use all of this stuff that we developed to sort of springboard off of is like, this is really cool. All of a sudden, this feels like I've got a prototype that feels like it's been 4 or 5 months in the making, but I've literally started work on it last Thursday, which technically was the first day of my day off. So yeah, I don't take time off. I just take time to do new stuff. and spend some time with the family, which was really, really fun. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. I'm very, very excited. I don't want to bore you with the details of the game at this point, but I'm pretty chuffed and I want to play again, which is a good sign. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.